welcome to today's CleanCloud webinar. Really glad you could join us. Like I said, we'll give it a minute or two for people to settle in. While we do that, there's a chat function to this call. Feel free to drop in there where you're joining from. It's always great to see where our community is tuning in from. We have a lot of team members at CleanCloud monitoring that chat, answering your questions. So please do send through as much as you can. For those who don't know me, my name is Thomas Godsell. I lead the account management team here at CleanCloud. My role is to make sure that our customers are extracting as much value as possible from the system and supporting them as their businesses grow, individuals grow, and as their operational needs change. And today's session is focused on a really exciting and an important topic. It's multi-store management. So whether you're thinking about expanding your operation or already operating multiple stores, we're going to dive into what it actually takes to grow successfully and how CleanCloud can support you in that journey. Now, I'm joined today by Mike Blumberg from Tornado Express Laundry. He's built an impressive business now with 5 locations across Texas. Basically talk through his journey, how he approached his expansion, and the tools and strategies that helped him to succeed, and how features in CleanCloud have played a key role along the way. We'll also leave a bit of time at the end for a Q&A, so please feel free, as I mentioned before, to drop in as many questions as you can. There's no questions too silly, and then we'll be able to pose them to Mike and he'll be able to give you his insights. And then with that, Mike, let's dive in. Can you kick things off? Tell us a little bit about yourself and Tornado Express Laundry and where you've got to now.
Well, thanks for having me. And I'll come out and just tell you I'm nervous because I'm not an influencer. I'm a worker, and so this is new to me. First time I've ever done anything like this. Got into the laundry business in 2011. So I'm not a multi-generational person in this business. Got into it in 2011 when my wife and I bought a commercial laundry distributor here in Dallas. It was an archaic old Maytag distributor. It also sold Continental. It was basically run on Post-it notes. And so we spent a year putting in phone systems, accounting systems, quoting systems, and just improving the infrastructure so we could actually be a distributor. We then entered into an agreement with Electrolux and started to sell their equipment as well. So we learned the Maytag brand, the Continental brand, and the Electrolux brand. When my wife and I purchased the distributor in 2011, it also included a Dexter Easy Card laundromat. So we got a laundromat as part of the purchase and started learning about what it takes to run a laundromat, which it does take a lot more than most people think. So after that, during our owning of Texas Coin and Commercial Laundry, we bought a second Easy Card store. So we had 2 laundromats. One we owned in 2011, one we purchased with the real estate in 2015. During our ownership of the distributorship, we started a small route company, and a route company is where you put single load machines in apartment complexes and hotels and then share the revenue with the owner and the landlord. So we got into that, learned how to do the route business. In 2019, fast forward, we ended up selling our distributorship to LaundryLux Distribution. And so they bought our distributorship. And then in 2021, we sold our route company to Wash Laundry Systems, which is one of the largest route companies, in North America. Kelly, my wife, went to work for Wash and, kind of nurtured that process of transitioning all of our machines over to them. And it enabled me to focus on the laundromat business, which I love. I'm very passionate about it. So I have this concept called Tornado Express Laundry, and we have 5 locations in Dallas, Fort Worth, I have a partner. His name's Jose Espinoza. And Jose was a original employee of ours at Texas Coin and Commercial Laundry. And he left us to do something on his own. And I called him up and I said, hey, I'm doing this Tornado Express laundry concept. You helped develop it. Would you come and help me? And so he said yes. And so, he's probably one of the best technical guys in the country when it comes to knowing laundry equipment. He builds all of our stores. He manages the front of the house, which he's incredible at. He's bilingual. We have a high Hispanic employee base. And I manage most of the back of the house, which is, growth initiatives, follow up on new locations. I do the bank financing, the lease negotiations. Jose's an equity owner in our company. And so we kind of have a succession plan in place. We have an office manager who she worked for me at our distributor, and she's been with us for 10 years. She processes our payroll, enters deposits. She's our comptroller.
Yep.
And, we have 28 employees. So, it's not hey, we have one store with 3 employees. We have 28 employees to include people that are drivers, people that are doing maintenance. We do everything in-house. So we repair all of our equipment in-house. We do all of our own installs in-house. We don't really use a distributor. We kind of do everything ourselves. That's helped us because we don't really have to count on anyone. We just count on, us being able to run the business. I love our business. I love our employees. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. Our employees, they mean everything to me. They're really hard workers. We have almost no turnover. And so, yeah, it's a really cool business. And we have 5 great locations. We're in the process of building a small little plant tied to our Plano store so that we can handle the drop off and pickup and delivery out there. But yeah, it's an incredible business. Love it. Have met a lot of cool people in this industry. And yeah, we're into it.
I think you're selling yourself short there with your responsibilities. Don't you do some driving as well? Some actual driving with the
I do. I do our pickup and delivery for our Richland Hills store. Exactly. I like it. Yeah. I like to, and I have a very diverse customer base from some older individuals that need our help that, we're doing it, for a son or daughter that says, hey, can you help my elderly mom or dad out? I do that. We have manufacturing companies that I go do pickup and delivery for. So I get to use CleanCloud. I use it every single day. Yeah. And so I know the app, I know it inside and out. I know your desktop version. And so, yeah, it's real strategic to our growth and to what we're trying to build at Tornado Express.
That's brilliant. And thanks so much for that intro. When we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, it was very interesting to hear your journey from the distributor to where it is now. And I guess what would be really interesting for the people tuning in now is to basically get an understanding of how you went from that one store to the second store to the third store, fourth store. What are the key things that you look for to then think, okay, we're in a position now where we should think about expanding?
So what we did is I had owned these 2 stores. So as part of my deal with Laundry Lux, I said, I'm going to remodel my 2 existing stores and make them show stores. Yeah. And so we rebranded them to Tornado Express Laundry. So we opened the Dallas store in February of 2021. and the Irving store in August of 2021 as Tornado Express Laundries, fully remodeled, fully automated. We use the LaundryWorks card system, and they were amazing. They're amazing stores. When we started to get the processes right, we said, okay, we can do this. We can do another store, and we found one in Plano. And so we opened that store, I think, in August of 2022, and it was an incredible store. It was really the first store that we did where we did the remodel and never closed it down. We bought a distressed laundromat, we did the remodel, we got everything working to a point, and then started the remodel. And so that's kind of a key thing, when someone's looking to expand to another store, because we closed down our store in Dallas and remodeled it, and we closed down our store in Irving and remodeled it. And our ramp up to really get to cash flow positive took about 18 months. Whereas when we kept the existing store open in Plano, to get to cash flow positive maybe took 2 months.
Right.
And so, we that was a key learning for us. It was a big learning for us. Let's not close the store down. When we did our Richland Hills store, that store, it was closed down, but we didn't have to pay anything for the infrastructure. So we could, figure out what we needed to do there from an economic standpoint, and it made sense. And then our fifth store in North Dallas was a distressed laundromat that we got everything working, and we fully remodeled it, and still don't have a sign, but that's coming. But it's never shut down, and it's pretty much cash flow neutral, since we started the remodel. So that was a key learning. Don't shut the store down. Bring the customers on the journey with you, remodel the store, do the best you can, giving them great customer service, clean everything up. And then they're amazed when the store is completed. They're just amazed by it.
Yeah. And I guess the customers will see that evolution, right? If they're able to come through.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of your partner in it. And, so, that got us to 5 stores. I think that, when you and I were talking, we initially started with CleanCloud at our Plano store in 2022. So we were with Wash, Dry, Fold POS, which is a great POS system for what we were doing at the time. But we started to get into light commercial pickup and delivery. We started getting into, some residential pickup and delivery, and it just didn't function for us like we needed to.
Right.
So we put CleanCloud in Plano, and learned it, got the kinks out of it, and then it's now in all 5 of our stores. I mean, you're a strategic partner for us. It's a system that works for us.
Yeah, I think that's obviously great to hear from our perspective. But and we'll jump into that a little bit later on when we discuss how you specifically use different parts of CleanCloud to get the most out of your locations. I think a lot of people joining this webinar might already be operating several stores, or they might be on the verge of opening a second store. Do you have any insights into any of the challenges that you wish you knew about before you opened your other locations that you would do differently? Obviously, you've mentioned don't shut the store down, try and use it while you're renovating it. Is there anything else that you've learned over the time that you would advise customers to be aware of before they take the plunge into an operation?
I think when you have one store, it's great. I think, for us as we grew, a lot of it was, some of it was for tax reasons. I mean, you're able to fundamentally move your tax liability out a year every time you build a store. that improves cash flow. I was looking back, kind of analyzing, what it costs to build a store. And so our cost with our first opening in 2021 to our new store that we just opened in North Dallas, it's gone up 100%. The price has doubled.
Yeah.
And so, these stores are not cheap. They're $1 million or a tad more. And so, that's a big pill to swallow. I think some of the hidden expenses that people don't realize that are out there, whether it's, coming up with a mechanical and electrical plan could be 10 grand, and you haven't even, you're just pulling a permit at that point. And so there's so many added expenses that we kind of prepare for, like the worst case scenario. We make sure we have enough working capital. We use traditional bank financing where we put down, 30 to 35% of the project costs and then take a note out on the remaining. And we finance that over 5 or 6 years. We finance it over 6 years. Our goal is to pay it off in 5.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, the costs are astronomical, and you just got to be you got to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
And so I think that, having a store that's 5 years old, and if you went into our store in Irving and in Keast, you'd think it was brand new, because we do everything in house, whether it's preventive maintenance, whether it's repairs. We keep everything looking brand new, or we call it like new.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think some of my learnings are, the location costs.
Yeah.
The lease negotiations have become a little bit more difficult. Our new store, we're paying more rent than we've ever paid at any of our stores. So that was kind of a shock. One of the things we find is that, we'd like to buy the real estate, obviously, but, no one is looking to sell you their property after you've dumped, 1.2 million into it. They know you're locked in for quite some time.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. And how is staffing? Because I know a lot of customers, I speak to a lot of people who encounter staffing issues or just difficulties in terms of retaining and obviously getting them and acquiring staff in the first place. Did you run into similar issues?
So we run a system where we have a store manager, and all of our store managers have been promoted within our organization.
Got it.
So they know how to use CleanCloud. They know how to use all of our LaundryWorks systems. They know how to use everything.
Another operation like the back of the hand, right?
Right. And so, we promote, and everyone wants to get promoted. I mean, we have an employee at our store in one of our stores in Dallas. We need to make her a manager, which is why we're going to, build another store in 2026. So we have these managers. They are autonomous. They run these stores. They hire staff, usually because, we're able to find people locally. We use, we get a lot of referrals. Hey, can you hire my sister? That kind of stuff. And so we have a great staff. We have almost no turnover. We pay our staff really well. Everyone gets paid time off. Even if you're a part-time employee, it's all based on an aggregate of the hours you work. Everyone that's been with us for a year, whether you're part-time or full-time, gets a 45 hours of bonus at Christmas time.
Right.
So we don't want any employee turnover. That it's like the worst. And so, we do everything we can to make sure we're doing right by our employees.
Yeah. I mean, sounds like a great place to work, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, they work so hard. They take it so personal.
Yeah. I guess that feeds down from you, right? Because you believe in that, in the operation that you guys run, I think that probably filters down through every employee that you hire. If the culture...
Yeah, we have to talk some of them off the ledge when we get that random bad Google review out there, and they're like, man, what did we do? What did we do? And we're going, hey, some people just wake up and have bad days, just bad reviewers. So yeah, I mean, they take ownership. Our managers really own the store.
Brilliant. I mean, I guess then let's move into then how you utilize CleanCloud and I guess the benefits of you centralizing your operation on one tech partner. Is there anything that springs to mind straight away? Obviously, you now can add stores as you require and build new stores. You can add new locations to CleanCloud very easily. Is there anything in that's in itself beneficial to you, or is there anything else in terms of the multi-store metrics that you're seeing, the ability to flick between all the stores as the owner and send drivers to another stores through the driver app, that sort of thing? If you just touch on that sort of stuff, that'd be really helpful, I think, for a lot of customers who are in a similar situation to you, if they're not using the system as well as you, or if they're not extracting as much value from it. If you have any insights on that, that'd be really helpful.
So we use CleanCloud. We use CleanCloud in a lot of different manners. So we get a lot of phone calls here in the office, and so we have all 5 stores on our desktop platform. You can toggle between stores. When a phone comes into our office, we know what store, because it tells us Tornado Express Plano.
Right.
We're able to answer that customer's questions. We will say, hey, if you're going to drop off your laundry, let us build a profile for you, in that store. We take their name, their cell phone, we get their laundry preferences. Do you want your polo shirts hung? Do you want your trousers on hangers? We're able to put all these notes into the system prior to them showing up at the store.
Yeah.
And so that is a huge deal, because there's somewhat of a language barrier when they go to the stores. And once our staff pulls up their profile, they read everything in Spanish, they see what they're supposed to do, and it's seamless. And so, it's very interesting, because we'll track when someone calls us, and then we'll enter them into the system, and then we'll go back and look to see if they dropped off, and 2 hours later we'll see first time customer.
Yeah.
And it'll be the person that we entered. So, we like a lot of the CleanCloud gives us some really cool features. The first time customer feature that you highlight, so everyone knows it. It shows up at the laundromat. It shows up for the driver app.
Yeah.
We know, hey, we got a first time customer. Our goal is to get this customer.
Yeah.
And we don't look at customers as a one-time person. If someone's spending $50 a week, we don't look at that as, oh, that's $50. We look at that as, that's a $2,500 annualized customer. If we get 10 of them, it's 25,000. If we get 100, it's 250,000. So it's so important to know that, hey, this is a first-time user, and we're able to really touch that customer and make sure they return.
Yeah, exactly. It's the idea of wowing that customer, turning them into a repeat customer, right?
Yeah, and I think that some of the other CleanCloud things, relative to the driver's app, I think that's an important thing to talk about. I've done Uber Eats, and I told you that, but I did Uber Eats because I had a college kid doing Uber Eats and thinking that was going to be a way to make money, when it's only a way to make money if your dad's paying for your car and your gas. But I've done take the picture of the food, send it. And we do the same thing with your app. Your app is on par with that. We take pictures when we deliver it. We take pictures when we pick up.
Yeah.
Hey, someone will say, well, I had 4 bags, and we'll able to go back to the picture and say, well, we took a picture when we picked it up. There was only 3 bags there. It's really a top-notch delivery app, pickup and delivery app. So, I think that, you need to, that's a big benefit of CleanCloud. That driver's app really is something that it's a check and balance for you, it's a check and balance for the customer.
Yeah.
Keeps everyone, seamlessly knowing what's going on. And, the fact that whether you drop off and you get a notification that your laundry's ready, that has eliminated so many people calling saying, hey, is my laundry ready?
Yeah.
They get a text, so they go and
Yeah,
pick it up.
you even mentioned before, people have called up to ask, and can you just check your phone? I think you should have received a text. And you go and check the phone, and yeah, there's the message saying that it's been ready for the past 2 days.
Right. And so they're like, well, thank you for letting me know. And we're in a digital world, and I get it. People get so many texts that they don't know, what they're getting. But yeah, that's a real important element of what we do, is letting our customer know, hey, your laundry's ready, or your driver's on the way.
Yeah.
Then they'll get an email saying, just to let you know, tomorrow, your driver will be there between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m.
Yeah.
There's a lot of notification features, and we use all of them.
Yeah, and depending on what plan you use, obviously you got a couple of stores on our Grow package. Your customers get the ETA of the driver, and they can actually track that van as it drives towards their apartment, home, etc. Just giving a little bit more insight to them, makes it easier, less issues, less call ups for you, just making the whole process a little bit more seamless. And I guess there's something to speak about with regards to actually managing the operation. You've got a really big operation now, so there's going to be instances where something goes wrong, or instances where customers complain about missing items. So how does having everything on one platform allow you to quickly troubleshoot that with time stamping, attendant names, washer names, dryer names? How do you manage that sort of thing?
So, it happens rarely, but it does happen. We'll have someone call us and say, I'm missing something.
Yeah.
And, we're able to go back and see what machines we washed it in, who washed it. We're able to kind of look at our cameras, because it's all time stamped, so we're not watching a video all day.
20 hours.
We're able to go right to when it was washed. We're real religious about using CleanCloud, and moving the laundry to the machines, picking the machines. We know where everything was washed. We know where everything was dried. It's a key feature for us, because we're able to tell the customer, look, we went back and looked at the cameras. Can you check your order just to make sure that everything's there? And it's 100% where they'll say, oh, I'm sorry, it was my mistake.
Yeah.
Now, we had a customer say, hey, I didn't get my laundry. And this is one customer out of the hundreds that we're processing every week. And he forgot to take his hanging clothes. And so they were back at the store, and we looked and we said, okay, you didn't pick up your hanging clothes, our fault. Please go back to the store and get them. They're there. But it gives us really good systems to track the orders. You're being trusted with someone's laundry. We're real diligent about separating everything. We follow instructions. If a customer doesn't want our fabric softener, it's notated in their profile. If they want polo shirts on hangers, that's notated in their profile. We're real specific to make sure we do a good job.
Yeah, no, that's it. And if you've got everything in that system, and you use it as diligently as you use it, it's one of those situations where you get as much out of it as what you put into it, right?
Yeah, I think that we use those features because it's keeping us honest. It's keeping everyone honest. We know exactly what everyone's doing. Another great feature, we'll have someone call the office and they'll say, hey, can I get it done same day? And, if it's Plano, most likely no, because it's so busy that we just can't do it. But we're able to look and see, okay, hey, we got one order in the queue. We will tell them, look, we think we can get it done for you same day. We'll put some notes in your profile. They'll take it there. Our staff will get it done. but we're able to know that they only had one order in the queue. You
Yeah.
know, we're not going to send them there if there's 10 orders in the queue, but it lets us know, hey, we can look at each store. We know exactly what's in the queue, what people are processing, and if they can get it done for a customer. And we hate turning away business. We hate it. But, you know, we've had to say, I'm sorry, we just can't get it done for you same day.
Yeah. And in on that, you've been in a situation where you've needed to send drivers from one store to the other, haven't you? If they either call in sick or if they need an extra hand in other locations, you actually send your drivers to help out, don't you?
We do. Well, if there's an issue where a driver couldn't pick something up or something happened, they're able to toggle on their phone to the Irving store, Richland Hills store, and it works seamlessly. It's like that driver is now in Richland Hills.
Mm.
And so, yeah, we use that driver app. Everyone knows how to use it. Our staff knows how to use it. So, yeah, I mean, it's a tool that we use. Again, we use it every single day.
Yeah. And so you're the best people to talk about it, especially on this webinar, right?
You know, and I'll tell you, I want to talk about another integration that CleanCloud has that we've done. You know, we struggled to, we're not very good with social media. We're not really good with any of that stuff. And we struggled to get our website right. And, you know, in a roundabout way, I found Charles with Fluff and Fold.
Yeah, I think Charles is actually in. Charles is here, I think. He's in this webinar.
Well, you know, I went on his website. He was integrated to CleanCloud. I sent him a contact us. I said, hey, can you help me? I need to get my website right.
Yeah.
And I had tried using someone locally that I wasted so much money because they didn't understand the laundromat business. And so, you know, we used Suds Digital to set up our system tied in CleanCloud.
Yep.
We literally, people have a toggle if they're in Plano, if they're in Frisco, if they're in McKinney, they can toggle what city they're in, click on it, goes to that particular store seamlessly. They can set up an account. And so we're getting daily people signing up and, you know, requesting either information or they'll sign up and not place an order. And then it gives us a way to call them back and say, hey, we noticed you signed up. You didn't place an order. How can we help you do this? And we get customers that way.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think about different things that kind of transformed our business. You know, CleanCloud was one of them. Suds Digital was one because it got us a website, got us some presence, and it's all tied into our Google business pages and everything. And so, yeah, I mean, CleanCloud works seamlessly for us when we integrated it into our website.
Yeah, I think you touched on an important point there. It's customers that are signing up and not ordering, which they've done the hard part. They've given you the information, and then what you've got to do now is convince them to actually place an order with you. And you've mentioned before that there's, in terms of areas of CleanCloud that you don't use as much as you would like to, the marketing features are they fit into that category, right, of features that you'd like to use more. And this kind of goes out to everybody here as well. I can obviously send more information on this. There are features in there for you to do exactly that on an automated basis. It's creating the flows so that once a customer creates their order, the system can ask after 4 days, 2 days, have they placed an order? If not, you can start sending out messaging to them straight away on an automated basis. So, yeah, that's an area that you'd like to learn a little bit more about, right, Mike? Because I'm assuming there's a lot of people that have seen that feature, automated flows in CleanCloud, but don't really know much on it. So, yeah, any thoughts on that one?
So Charles does it the best at Fluff and Fold, and because I signed up for his stuff, and I get his texts, and they are fantastic. And so, but he's put a lot of time into it, and he's a really good marketer. You know, it's probably not my expertise, and so, you know, right now our focus is obviously getting our sign up at Store 5 and getting that up and running, getting our Plano location drop-off center done. But but we're going to get into it. We're going to, it's kind of my second half of the year project to start the automation. When someone signs in, if they go online or they use the app and they sign in, all customers get 20% off their first order. And so, they get 20% off their first order. It works great. They try us.
Yeah.
And all subsequently, when they place another order, they get 10% off. And then they get our Tornado Express Laundry red bag. And, we put a barcode on there, their name. And so they kind of feel a little ownership that, hey, they got this. Now it's easy for them to just jam their clothes into this big bag, set it on their porch, their patio in front of their apartment, and we come and pick it up.
Yeah.
So we're doing it. Just to touch on the people that sign up. So they sign up. I think a lot of them are hesitant to put their credit card information in, which I get. And, we call them up and we were able to say, hey, it's a closed system. We can't see your card information. If you go onto the CleanCloud app and you put in Tornado Express Laundry, our location will pop up and you can do it from there. And so once we educate the person who's already signed up and created an account, it becomes easier. And then they understand the credit card piece. They understand, hey, I don't want my credit card charged, and so we kind of explain to them what the process is.
Yeah. I think I've actually seen a few nice questions coming from our from the people that are in our webinar. So we can hand over to those guys. Do you mind if I just send a few through to you, Mike? A really good one here, which is probably quite important. I don't know how your customer base is made up entirely, but good question here. Do you have any experience managing cleaning orders for other dry cleaning or laundromat businesses in the area that don't have perhaps the facilities or an operation big enough to deal with it in their own location? Do you have experience cleaning that for them as a client?
So we don't do dry cleaning, and we'll get calls about dry cleaning, and we say we do wash and fold. We do, wash and fold laundry. We haven't solicited dry cleaners, which I think that's, I think about it all the time, but I rarely do. Dry cleaning to me is it's just something that, gosh, I wear shorts and a polo shirt or a Grateful Dead t-shirt every day to work. I don't do any dry cleaning, but the wash and fold, I know that there are dry cleaners that could be a secondary drop-off source for you, and you could process the laundry. We don't do it. We do some third-party processing with a few of the outside apps that are out there, very selective. And we're really only looking for when those third-party companies, we're tied into a couple of them, and we do a handful of accounts with them, but our pricing, we have to have the price that we need, then they have to build it into their margin. So we do a couple third-party app orders, but primarily we just try to do everything in-house. We want to touch the customer. I mean, the customer wants to interface with you. They don't want to have to go through a third party. They want to know who's doing their laundry. It's not being done in someone's house. It's being done, in commercial machines. We're, washing comforters and big machines and, extracting all the dirt out of them and fluffing them in our big dryers. I think that's what the customer wants to know, who's doing my laundry. And, we really try to let the customer know, hey, it's Tornado Express Laundry. This is what we do. We actually have a brochure, commercial brochure that we give to spas and to, different accounts that we solicit so that they know, hey, this is who's doing my laundry. So we don't really we try not to do anyone else's work.
Yeah. And then another question here: Do you see your first operation, second operation, third operation that you've opened? Do you see them continuing to grow? And has your need from a tech partner perspective changed along that journey as well? And how have you felt that the tech that you use is kind of sort of grown with you in that respect?
So the tech is real important. The tech is really, I mean, our website and our, Google that we have, our tech with CleanCloud. I mean, that's why we're growing. I mean, if we didn't have CleanCloud, I don't think we would be able to efficiently process, the amount of laundry that we're doing. And,
Right.
I mean, we're processing close to $1 million a year with all of our stores of pickup and drop off and, wash and fold, light commercial accounts. I think having CleanCloud, having our web presence, I think if you don't have those two things in place, I don't know how you can grow. I
Yeah.
mean, I just don't know how you can do it on pen and paper. I think you got to have some type of tech partner. And
Yeah.
so, I would say those are our two tech partners. You and Suds Digital, they're our tech partners. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, we need the tech. And without it, I think it would be really difficult to run the operation that we're running.
And have you found that offering a pickup and delivery service as opposed to in-store sort of wash, dry, fold, has that helped you grow, especially in locations where footfall to the actual stores is quite low, or even when you're actually renovating your stores after the acquisition? Do you find having that remote service has helped you to keep the order count up without necessarily having to invite people or allow people to come to the stores themselves?
Yeah, I mean, our pickup and delivery and our drop off, I call it reoccurring revenue.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that, I like about this business. It's what I liked about the route business, that it's reoccurring revenue. We have the same customers. We're doing the same thing every week. We're adding new customers. Those customers become weekly customers. It's that reoccurring revenue that really, I think our pickup and delivery is, and our drop off laundry. I don't want to say it's icing on the cake because it's actually part of the cake now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a substantial part of our business. It's 30% of our revenue.
Right.
And, and growing every single day. We can't really, our Plano store, it's so busy that we don't even want any more customers out there until we get this drop off facility in
Yeah.
place. And the only way we've done that is through, people calling, consistent customers every week dropping off. It's just all the reoccurring revenue. And we're only able to get those customers, I think, because of our digital presence, which is great from our website standpoint and our Google pages, but we could probably be doing so much more.
Right.
But at this point, we don't really need to. We're just we're growing organically. So just to get back to your question on that, I mean,
Yeah.
we track KPIs and we track year over year sales. We track year over year pickup and delivery, and we've not had a down month. We track it month over month, and we just don't have down months at this point.
Wow. It's no surprise that you've been able to grow the empire to what it is now, and I'm excited to see what happens next for Tornado Express.
I wouldn't say it's an empire.
Not yet, anyway.
It's no, but I think it's I think it's 5 stores in a metropolitan area that has 8.5 million people. That's why we're not afraid to open store 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because there's so many people here in Dallas.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone last week, and I said, there's more people in Plano and Frisco than there are in the state of Wyoming. I mean, there's so many people here. The need just keeps growing and growing. And so I don't think it's a business where it's only, moderate income users. I think it's all income users are using it in some form or fashion.
Yeah. No, it's definitely an industry that continues to grow. I'm always stunned when we go to these events like the Clean Show that we're going to go to this year, and how big this industry actually can be. But what we'll do is we'll leave it there because I don't want to run over too much. But Mike, thank you so much. And thanks to everybody who joined us today. It's been great hearing about your journey, Mike, and the lessons you've learned whilst growing Tornado Express Laundry to where it is now. I know a lot of people listening will have taken inspiration from how you've approached the expansion, especially the way you utilize tools such as a drive wrap, as you mentioned, and obviously that pick up and delivery piece there at the end to try and drive efficiency and growth simultaneously. If you're tuning in today and you're thinking about scaling your own business or just want to get more out of CleanCloud, please don't hesitate to get in touch. I'm just going to quickly share a quick slide here with here it is. Scanning that QR code on the left will send you straight to my team's booking link where you can book in and speak to myself, Victoria, and Tom, the account managers here at CleanCloud. And we've got the sales one on the right hand side. If you're a new store or a new owner looking to kind of start that journey with CleanCloud, please do use those QR codes and book times. That's in our diaries whenever suitable for you guys. And of course, if you're heading over to Clean Show in Orlando this August, come see us. We'll be at booth 3133. We'd love to meet you in person, of course. Mike, I know you'll be there.
Absolutely. Jose and I will be there. We're excited just to learn different things. That's why we go. We're going there to learn and to, understand what's available. I think there's a lot of things that we're looking for to help us, be more efficient and streamlined. And so the Clean Show is got everything that has to do with laundry. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And please don't forget to check out our Facebook community, the CleanCloud resources page, for more best practices guides and customer stories just like Mike's. So yeah, thanks again for being here, Mike. Huge thanks to everyone sharing your time. Sharing your time with us, sharing your insights, Mike. And yeah, until next time, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, very welcome. Have a great evening, guys.